bye, didn't have to play yesterday. Gives an extra day of preparation for Ole Miss to kind of fine-tune some things, have a tune-up as they come into the SEC tournament.
A great atmosphere here. It has been already. We've seen 6 games played. We've got many more to go. Quarterfinals, semifinals, leading all the way up to the championship. Hey, Cody McMahon in her lone season and Ole Miss trying to make a mark and an imprint. Caitlin Duhan, who has been here before for the Auburn Tigers, as we get underway from Bon Secours Wellness Arena.
You talked about the defense of Auburn. Ole Miss packs defense as well. And getting back to what Coach Yo said, what her program has been known for: dictate and disrupt.
Duhan, who had 14 points last night, trying to find her first 2, popped up and into the hands of Hawala and Ole Miss. Out ahead, Jayla Murray in her first start this season, off the backboard and puts it in. The senior out of St. Louis, when we talked to the players, they said, hey, Jayla Murray is going to be one of those important pieces for us. On the other side, you've got Harrison Kubali, Hadi Lay. These are newcomers on this stage for Larry Vickers.
Larry Vickers has got to be encouraged. When you come into your first SEC tournament and you get a win, you're playing on the second day. That'll build a lot of confidence for your program.
First 15 seed to win an SEC tournament game. As that one rims out for Jamia Harris. And Cody McMahon pulls up, rolls off for the SEC Newcomer of the Year. But there is our partner in crime. You talked about in the open, Christine Owala with the stick back.
Yeah, Cody McMahon can come down and feel free to take shots as long as you've got Owala inside to play cleanup.
You see Tiana Thompson on the floor. They are without one of their best defenders, and Sira Chinu, who's been out during this 4-game losing skid.
Look, and when you're trying to adjust to playing without a starter in this tough SEC conference, that's tough. I told you she's going to get a bucket anytime she wants it.
It's a power train moving all the way through, and a 6-0 start for Ole Miss. Larry Vickers emphatic about calling a timeout, bringing his team to the bench as it's a 6-0 lead for the Rebels.
Stay true to who we are.
Coach O told the SEC Now crew, look, we got to get back to who we are and what we do. When you look at the flip side of the first 27 games versus the last 4.
And these are all defensive stats. You look, the opponent's scoring had gone up. They were forcing less turnovers. The field goal percentage of opponents had gone up. And sometimes you can fall in love with the offense. You're like, I'm scoring buckets, and if the shot's not falling, let that affect your defense. No, Coach O comes in. Your defense affects your offense. You've got to put that as the main thing.
Being pesky here to Brescia Poe, all up in the grill of Maya Petticord, who's trying to find a little space or opening. 5 to go on the shot clock, and that is how you dictate and disrupt in an offensive possession.
That whole 30 seconds, now I know there's a lot of action on the floor. My eyes went to Coach O. She over there playing defense on the sideline. It's like 6 against 5 right now against the Auburn Tigers.
When we felt the tone of this team coming into Greenville, you know, Cody McMahon, Christina Owala, each said, look, we're treating this as a business trip. Straight up.
The biggest thing those two said is, we got to quit talking about it and be about it. You got to put that action. You got to put those words into action on the floor.
Right now, the action has happened inside the paint. All 6 of their points, as that one was blocked by Caitlin Duhan. She had 3 last night in that win.
I think we've lost a contact. And Caitlin Duhan, her vertical, she went and got that one.
When you look at this Auburn team, you think about Caitlin Duhan, Soraya Daniels, the 2 players who stayed in this program with the coaching change and Larry Vickers coming over, and I think the lost contact is going to be retrieved. A new one on the sideline. Meanwhile, everyone is circling around on the court, and it's been identified, and now just got to make sure it is properly removed.
The way that these players lose a contact and go to the sideline, do you know how long it takes me to put my contacts on, getting ready for a game? I'm in there, you know, and they pop it back in and they're ready to go.
So Jayla Murray takes his seat. Latasha Lattimore checks in on the inbound, and a jump ball. And Caitlin Peterson and Ole Miss will retain possession. 7 seconds left on the shot clock.
Keep an eye on number 35, Tiana Thompson, a three-point shooter that can pop out. She doesn't need a lot of time to pull the trigger.
Coach O yelling to remind the players, not a lot of time left on the shot clock, no problem. Quickly in the hands, it popped in and from Latasha Lattimore. So getting out to a quick start. Ole Miss in their first game. Meanwhile, Ariel Richardson-Jackson on the take and is fouled.
Auburn was covering all the shooters, but they forgot about Lattimore. She popped out to that elbow area. That's her sweet spot on the face-up jumper.
The last time we saw Lattimore, she was having a solid game against the Gators in Gainesville before going down with a sprained ankle, but happy to have her back because her rebounding ever so important, as well as rim protection for Ole Miss. Jackson rims out the first, able to knock down the second and the first point for the Auburn Tigers.
I think for Auburn to potentially pull off the upset, they have to control the tempo. And as they're patient on the offensive end, you still got to find ways to score. And I think with the pressure of Ole Miss, with the forced spread, then have those opportunities. Get to the paint, get to the rim, get to the free throw line.
And Hadi Lay sacrificing her body, taking the charge. Cody McMahon picks up her first personal foul. It's going to be a low-scoring affair when you look at Auburn. At least that's their hope, because if they can grind it out and keep things low, they've got a good chance.
Well, because they struggle scoring, they don't have anybody that is a consistent shooter, and then they don't have a traditional dominant big inside either.
Vickers, who has won 10 straight conference tournament games, going back to his previous stop at Norfolk State, where he had great success with the Spartans women's basketball team, taking them to the NCAA tournament 3 straight seasons. McMahon, newcomer of the year in the conference, over to Lattimore, working inside, looking, deflected. Duhan comes up with it, out and running, and just bounces it off her leg. And when we talked about defense to start this broadcast for the Auburn Tigers, I mean, that is what Larry Vickers uses as his cornerstone in building teams.
Those are rankings in the country. You know, previous 2 years, #1 and #2 with their defense.
And Duhan, once again, the quick hands of Duhan, the redshirt junior out of Houston, is everywhere on the floor. And a clear path.
Oh, my
but Latasha Lattimore said, no, ma'am, not in my house, not right now.
Wow. Lattimore's got 56 blocks on the season.
The look down from 3, and Caitlin Peterson can't connect.
Yeah, when you drive on Ole Miss, you think that lane is wide open. Lattimore comes from I don't know where and shuts that down.
Well, hails from Toronto, Canada, right? 6'4" inside. This time, Desiree Kyles trying to alter that shot. And 9 newcomers on this team for Ole Miss. Peterson, a part of it. 6'4" in stature, but a 6'10" wingspan for Lattimore.
Look at where she comes from and just gets that one in the air. Oh, my goodness.
3rd in the SEC in blocks this season, averaging better than 2 a game. And we wanted to see how Ole Miss would respond coming into their first game of the SEC tournament.
So far, a good start for the Rebels. I think this is what Coach O's been looking for.
Got to get moving. 3 on the shot clock. Bounce pass in to Awala. Tough shot and gets it in off the glass. Well, Christine Awala, 4 points, 4 rebounds. And she is a part of that dynamic duo of Cody McMahon and Awala. They've been excellent this season.
Well, and they feed off each other. Christine Awala said if she sees how hard Cody McMahon plays, makes her want to play hard. And then Cody says the same thing about Christine. Look at your big out defending on the perimeter. Awala's gotten down in a stance. Everybody's got to play defense if you play for the Rebels.
Too strong. Lay comes up with the offensive rebound, flips it up. No, 2 Tigers fall to the floor. Denham to Shields in the game for Ole Miss. Awala, a perfect 3 for 3 from the floor. So already immediate impact from Christine Awala, 6 points, 5 rebounds.
Look, the strong side for Christine Awala is to the left, and both scores in a row has been to the left side. Auburn's got to take away that left hand.
Bounce pass in, Awala, hands up, and that one is able to go in for Lay. Adi Lay, remember, had those 11 points, 15 rebounds in last night's win over Texas A&M. They slowed the hottest team down coming into the tournament.
Christine Awala talked about her being on the left side. You watch her. Look, you can't let her go left. Driving left, that's the power side. And then Hadi Lay, the reverse layup on the baseline. Use the rim as a protector. That reverse layup, that's a good way for the bigs that aren't so big for Auburn to get a bucket.
And Christine Awala, just where we've seen her go from reserve to now a regular in the lineup for Coach O, and just the magic that this coaching staff works for second-year players in this program after she transferred in from UCLA.
Yeah, from last year to this year, Christine Awala has upped her scoring from 6.8 points a game to 13, almost doubled that. The same doubling up on rebounds, just barely almost 5 rebounds a game to 8.4.
2 makes for Peterson as she checks out of the ball game, and Cody McMahon back in. First team all-conference selection, and Cody McMahon.
We watched Ole Miss too at the beginning of the season, really struggling of who was going to run the floor as far as being the floor general. And Coach O saw that Cody McMahon could handle the basketball. Cody McMahon has never played the point before in her life and has taken over that position at times in the SEC.
So now Richardson kicks out to Duhan, looks down the 3, bounces off. Eyes up ahead to Brisha Poe, pulls it out, finds Awala again, who remains perfect on the night.
And where is she? She on that left block.
That's right. 12 of the 16 points for Ole Miss tonight. In the paint, getting the sweet spot for Awala.
You know, Coach O, when she was talking to the SEC Now crew, talked about she was going to play players that were going to bring that defensive energy. Well, everybody wants to play, so she's been able to already go deep into her reserves.
Shields patient, probing in, leaves it short. And what kind of answer can Auburn create on the offensive end? A double dribble, and they hand it back over. Well, how about this Sunday's softball triple header here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app? It starts with the reigning national champion, Texas Longhorns, taking on number 24, South Carolina at noon Eastern. And then number 1, Tennessee, playing host to number 16, LSU, followed by Florida, hosting Missouri. Just think about this great start for this Ole Miss team and getting back to their rhythm. In rhythm, Cody McMahon, the 3. You talked about about her being able to handle the point, but she can also stretch it and knock down the three ball.
Well, the thing that I love about Cody McMahon's game, at Ohio State, when it came to her, it was all about scoring. Her vision of the court and recognizing the opportunity to set up to get the offense they want. I mean, she got it inside, then relocated and had her feet set, ready to take that three-point shot.
Decided to play her final season in Oxford, Mississippi, wanted to grow and get better. She has done that as Auburn, again, having a tough time finding a good look and another shot clock violation.
Watch Cody McMahon, her command of the floor, gets the ball into the post, relocates when the dig down goes in, and she is ready, locked and loaded, ready to knock down that three. And then to follow that up, that last possession, okay, ladies and gentlemen, watch Cody McMahon get down in a defensive stance. It is a thing of beauty. Number 32 in white, she is down, got her knees bent, using all that power to move side to side.
A senior from Dayton, Ohio, who has been coached hard by Coach Yo, and it's been a really good relationship between the two. And in areas where a player who's looking to improve her draft stock and move on to the WNBA, all of those things scouts are looking for.
When we talked to her when they came in to shoot yesterday, Cody McMahon talked about she wanted to get things turned around for Coach Yo because of how much energy and effort she gives. There's Petticourt. She's a shooter. What's her nickname? Money. That's Money Petticourt.
McMahon from the free throw line to the mid-range, working all parts of the floor for Cody McMahon. McMahon now has 7 points. You saw that graphic pop up earlier. The CNC scoring factory already off to a hot start.
Well, watch McMahon on defense. She just gets after it.
Pushes it up. Final shot of the quarter. McMahon leaves it short. However, all Ole Miss, and you talk about what Cody McMahon and Christina Waller can do, 15 combined points.
They wanted to bring it. They hit the reset button. Ole Miss is coming into their first game of the SEC tournament ready.
1-6 to start things with Sirachinu in the game. The stretch has turned around, and they're getting back to that.
Well, and what Coach O talked about, without having Sirachinu on the floor, Cody McMahon has not been able to play as much at the point because you got to play Denham to Shields. Now, Denham is going to play the point, which keeps Cody off ball. But when they had Cody McMahon and Sirachinu, the strength, the length that you have defensively, the strength that you have, and it also is an additional rebounder that you have on the floor.
And she injured her knee in that game against Tennessee back on last month, and they are expecting to have her back in time for the NCAA tournament.
Well, look, when you talk to Coach O, the main thing she's talking about is making a deep run in the NCAA tournament. They know that they need Sirachino to do that, and so if they have to risk, you know, maybe they play her in the SEC tournament. It's not in the immediate plans, but they want to for sure to have her for the NCAAs.
This Ole Miss team, after the first quarter, shooting 68% to open, and Duhan once again. What great defense by Caitlin Duhan. You got to give it up for her. She's the Auburn steals leader with about 3 a game, second in the SEC in that category, and that creates some offense.
Well, Auburn has already experienced how tough it is to score against Ole Miss in the half court, so you got to create offense by getting steals and getting out running.
Thompson over in the corner to Shields. And a traveling violation, but let's go back. Duhan has been a bright spot here in Greenville.
Just relentless on the ball, and especially having her at the top of the defense because there's nobody back, nobody. Once she gets the basketball, running her down, woo, that's a tall task.
And Larry Vickers talked about the importance of her coming back, a player who was in the transfer portal but decided to return. on the Plains. And give this new coaching staff an opportunity. Harrison Koulibaly, the freshman out of France, had 11 points last night. Koulibaly had it stripped away by the Shields, out and running quickly. Up ahead is Peterson, who's blocked.
Yeah, Peterson got that. A clean block, too.
I think she may have at the bottom of the basket. We've got more contact issues on the sideline as Duhan is temporarily off the floor.
Yeah, you better glue those things in with the physical contact you're going to get here in this SEC tournament.
This Auburn team, who averages 60 points a game, it's last in the SEC, and they've got to find a way to create points. And an offensive foul as Lattimore got a piece of it anyway, and slow to get up is Caitlin Peterson. She's helped by her teammates.
And a lot of what Auburn's trying to do and beat this defense is off the dribble. You're matching athlete for athlete. You're going to have to get some action of moving the ball, getting some backdoor cuts, keep the ball spread, good spacing to then give those opportunities to get in the paint.
And Larry Vickers is going to have to find a way to get his team ramped up again if they want to pull off the upset, come away with the win. Remember, the winner of this one will go on to face number 2 seed Vanderbilt in the quarterfinals tomorrow.
Well, Vanderbilt was able to handle Auburn, but Ole Miss was able to upset the number 5 ranked Vanderbilt Commodore.
And you go back during that rough stretch during Winter Storm Fern, and they played both Vanderbilt and Auburn in Birmingham, a neutral site for those wins.
Whether in that kind of adversity, I mean, it's kind of understanding and how, and you lose Sirachino, you kind of lose that momentum that Ole Miss started the season with.
And when you go back to just how difficult it was for the Oxford community to weather that Winter Storm Fern, they lost power, 60,000 plus, and then the Tennessee game was postponed and moved to the following month on the road for a couple of weeks, and campus didn't reopen until February 9th. But this team found a way to come together and push through a challenging part of their schedule.
Look, they were playing in the SEC just about every other day. And understanding the committee needs to make note of this. They gave up 2 home games to play on the neutral site. They won those games. They should get extra credit for that.
And you have heard the coaches throughout the conference talk about as that one was left short by leg. But all the considerations as Peterson has the 3 and knocks it down. Caitlin Peterson, the senior, helping to extend this run for the Rebels. But just how outstanding this conference is, the premier conference, the top conference in the country, and how this conference just keeps on producing as they want to see more of that from Ariel Jackson to try to keep producing, to chip away at this deficit. DeShields gets into the action. Now, Ole Miss is not a 3-point shooting team. They don't typically knock down a lot, but right now, they're finding their rhythm.
Let me tell you what helps you feel good on the offensive end when you get stops. Because when a team scores on you, you're not walking with that same swag. But when you get stops, you got a lot of confidence. You've earned the right to shoot the ball.
Man comes up with it. Stepping through and fouled by Jackson.
Yeah, she saw Peterson hit one, so DeShields went. Look, she played tag, got down in that corner and knocked it down. But she's been playing defense on the other side of the ball, so yeah. It's okay when I shoot the ball right there because I'm going to work my tail off to get it back at the other end.
Well, Peterson, who was a great shooter at UCF before coming in to this program, did him to Shields, who found her way from one part of the state to another. State of Mississippi, that is. And now Cody McMahon, and a total of 8 transfers. Number 2 portal class, according to ESPN, has quickly got back on the good foot now here in their first game of the SEC tournament.
Because, Tiff, I think that getting Cody McMahon at Ole Miss was the steal of the portal. Because of all of the elements that she brings, her strength, her rebounding, a basketball IQ, and on top of all of that, her work ethic is unmatched.
Star for this Ole Miss team, and you can see Coach O clapping it up for her defense as Kyles was whistled for the foul. And just the passion that Coach O brings for consecutive NCAA tournament appearances. They're moving their way to a 5th already locked in. A trip play in March Madness, and they want to go deeper than the Sweet 16 that they've done the last couple of years. So after this game, remember, stay tuned for SEC Now as our crew recaps an exciting day of action from the arena with highlights, analysis, interviews, and a look ahead at the storylines of the tournament. All right, Carolyn, Kentucky, South Carolina tomorrow. You were on the call for that 2022.
Oh, my goodness. When Dre Edwards hit that from the top of the key.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
And off the backboard, banked in that 3. And 4 made threes now from Ole Miss. They're 4 of 6 from long range.
I think Coach O has found that balance. Yes, she built this program on defense. Then she got a taste of offense. And the focus shifted for the players as Hottie Lane lays that one in. But what they have done is now gotten back on track on the defensive side. When you marry that together, Ole Miss can be dangerous.
All-around effort from Ole Miss.
What does Nell Fortner mean by land shark?
Don't you remember the land shark thing? That was like a football.
Oh, and then chum in the water. Okay, I got you.
Oh, I just love our crew.
Like
It's been so much fun.
Oh, yeah. But I get what she's talking about with the defense that we have seen from Ole Miss. And that 6 points, only allow 6 in the first quarter. That's how you set the tone of the tournament.
Coming up with the rebound, you talked about going deep into the bench, and Lauren Jacobs on the floor getting some playing opportunity and time, along with Jador Young. DeShields has to move, kicks it over. Lauren Jacobs looking it down and rims out. But also, when you think about Sirachinu, who is not on the floor, who's the point person in your defense, she's an elite defender for Ole Miss. It's created more opportunity for others to get some playing time. And Coach O has talked about that in the last couple of games.
I think depth is going to be important for teams that advance in the NCAA tournament. Yeah, you'll get a day in between, but if you have players, should you get foul trouble, should you have an injury, you have other players that now have had some experience and ready to step up.
Taking that dribble to Brescia Poe, no. Lattimore, yes. 56% from the floor for Ole Miss. Make it now 58% with that make. Lattimore with 4, DeShields with 6, Caitlin Peterson. Nice contributions all around and off the bench, and pump fake, and Caitlin Duhan will go to the line. And Caitlin Duhan, who has been defensive-minded since getting to Auburn, that's what really gets her going, but she's got the ability to score and let that bleed over on the offensive end as well. She had 14 points last night. And collecting her 3rd point right here at the free throw line.
And throughout her career, she's had to play a number of different positions. At times, she's had to play the forward, and she can move out to the wing. But she has been one of these players that is willing to do whatever asked of her, whatever's best for the team.
Lattimore double team, got to laser it over, and turns it over.
Now, unfortunately for Auburn, I believe that we're going to see Ole Miss press for 4 straight quarters, regardless of what the score is, because they are coming off of that 4-game losing skid, and this is a practice and preparation opportunity. It's no disrespect to Auburn, but when you're trying to play late in March and get to April, trying to get to Phoenix, this is the opportunity where you can work on some things.
Well, this was the emphasis that his coaching staff worked with leading up to tonight as that one bounces in for Lay. 8 points now for Hadi Lay. Go back to February 19th, which ended a rough stretch. They started against LSU. They played them to 8, and then had South Carolina a few days later. It was a rough one. They tried to regroup, and then lost on the road at Florida before closing out the season with a loss to Texas A&M.
Ole Miss has got to work on scoring droughts. Coming down and turning the ball over, or either, that's a good shot. Patience and look, right, against the zone. The discipline as Auburn will change up their defenses. Auburn was in a 1-2-2. You've got to be able to adjust to that on the fly, not wait for the coach to have to call a play or draw something up.
Kicked over, Duhon, looks, no. And approaching the final minute of the first half, Lauren Jacobs gets another one to go. Lauren Jacobs, the freshman out of Columbia, South Carolina, was the #1 recruit here in South Kakalaki, and Lauren Jacobs getting into the scoring action.
You watch Lattimore at the top of the key. She recognizes that open lane, slips right in. Doesn't just stay at the free throw line, but goes to get the high percentage shot. And then you find the shooter, you know, and you got to talk to your ball handler. Tell Denham DeShields, I'm coming. She left it back there for Jacobs to knock it down.
And first points that we have seen from Lauren Jacobs since she took the floor against Arkansas back on February 12th.
Now, you got to remember, Auburn played yesterday. I heard Larry Vickers talking. He was shouting to his team to get back. Fatigue can be a factor. And again, these are his team. The majority of them don't have SEC experience and understand what it's like to go from one day to the next.
That one rolls in for Jador Young, her first points of the game, and they get the ball right back. And DeShields pulls up and tries to hold for the final shot of the half.
Got Jacobs on the corner. She just hit a 3. Got to know where the hot hand is.
Jayla Murray tries to find her. Jacobs puts it up and in at the buzzer. Okay, Lauren Jacobs, you do that. Ole Miss with their largest lead at the half this season, and it started with 21 points. The CNC scoring factory combined for more than that of Auburn's total. Well, now let's get you to the studio on the Academy Sports and Outdoors halftime report. Alyssa, what's up?
Thanks, ladies, as we welcome you in to the Academy.
On the defensive side.
And what did it do? Also, things opened up on the offensive end. We saw an explosion for points for Ole Miss. 63% from the floor, even better from beyond the arc.
When you're taking shots on the offensive end, your mind can't be cloudy. You can't be worried about didn't do. You take care of business on the other end. When you're feeling good about that, oh, let it rain on the offensive side.
I mean, they rained threes. 6 from downtown. They're a 28% three-point shooting team. Meanwhile, coming out of the locker room hot, Auburn gets on the board first thanks to Jamia Harris. The largest halftime lead for a team in the last 20 years. Ole Miss took a 28-point advantage going into their first game of this SEC tournament.
But I don't expect any quit out of Auburn. I think Auburn will try to bring another run about them. And the challenge for Coach Yo with Ole Miss is you had 2 solid quarters. Now, what's this third quarter going to look like? You don't want to erase all that by having a letdown, taking your foot off the gas in the third.
And a foul as Cody McMahon slumped over and now stands tall. And the foul goes against Hadi Lay. So they're going to take a look at that last play and review as Cody McMahon
offensive foul on Auburn number 6. That play is under review to see whether or not it means.
This is the last play that was under review. You see the tangle up there with Hadi Lay, and she connects with the face of Cody McMahon. They were looking to see if this was an upgraded foul to a flagrant 1. That's what they're reviewing to see if there was something severe. And Brenda Pantoja will give us the final.
After review, the contact by number 6 does not rise to the level of a flagrant foul. Therefore, the call stands as called. It'll be Mississippi's ball on the end line with a 30-second shot clock.
And when we were reviewing it, even during the break, there was nothing excessive there that would warrant an upgrade of a flagrant 1. But Cody McMahon sitting on the benches, left eye was tearing up.
But up 26 for Ole Miss to be able to rotate in other players. Understand, if they want to try to win an SEC tournament championship, they got to win 4 games in 4 days. So as much rest as you can get for Cody McMahon, Christina Walla, get experience for your other players, the better.
Well, and if you think about what we saw in the first half, there was 25 points from the bench for this Ole Miss team. So they've been getting the production that they need. Jalen Murray looking inside to Christina Walla. Fronting on the backside was Petticord, who comes up with the steal.
And when you get your minutes, whether you stay out there or not depends on what you do with those minutes.
Jamia Harris, left hand, rolls off.
See, right now, Ole Miss is dominating this game. Rebounding-wise, 24-7. Points in the paint, that's just +6, but they are shooting 63% compared to Auburn's 29.
Both McMahon and now Awala on the bench, so the 5 on the floor for Ole Miss. Dylan DeShield with the ball in her hands, along with Lauren Jacobs, Latasha Lattimore, Desiree Kyles, and Debrisha Poe. Swung over, pull up, DeShields, no. Little tap back in, is short 2 for Lattimore. And on the floor is Petticord, jump ball, and it's gonna stay with Ole Miss.
I remember in the first half, underneath out of bounds, Ole Miss would flash their shooters to the corner, and then Lattimore was able to escape, get around that free throw line area.
And Jacobs picks up the dribble, and there's Caitlin Duhan to try to disrupt, and comes up with another steal. Caitlin Duhan, who has been thrifty tonight on the defensive end, 3 steals now for the redshirt junior. Coach Yo wanted to see her team turn the page, not dwell on the past, and look forward to a new season. And Charlie Cream's latest bracketology, Ole Miss is coming in as a 6th seed. And when you look at the body of work for this group. 20 in the net, the strength of schedule. What stands out for you?
Well, I think the biggest thing for Ole Miss is how they are performing right now. So they're looking like they did to start the season when they were in the top 16. And I think that then could give confidence to the committee. Okay, Ole Miss is back. What they didn't want to do is to come into the first day of the SEC tournament and not look great and have the possibility to start sliding down. You want to always be on that upward trajectory as you're getting closer to that tournament.
Currently 10 teams projected to play in the NCAA tournament, according to our bracketologists, and certainly some teams could be vying for another #1 seed, as the latest NCAA reveal has South Carolina already there, Texas and Vanderbilt. That one could be up for grabs for the final #1 seed.
Well, and Kenny Brooks is trying to make the case for Kentucky to get in a host situation, and how they're playing right now, back at full strength, having Tiani Key back, and Clara Strack is having all-SEC, all-American kind of tournament.
Well, she was a first-teamer in the conference, and you think about Amelia Hassett and Asia Boone on the first day, they were reigning 3. So then Clara Strack was like, I'm getting in on the excitement too. It's good defensive effort there and trying to get the basketball and into the hands of Auburn and Caitlin Duhon.
Look, and those aren't the only SEC teams playing well. Oklahoma, Reagan Beers, Aaliyah Chavez, and what they're doing as well. Look, as it gets closer to Sunday, these games are going to get hot and tight.
Oh, yeah. And you think about right now, if the score holds as is, Ole Miss could find themselves in a rematch with Vanderbilt in tomorrow's quarterfinals, a team that they were able to beat during the regular season. But they've got a Vanderbilt team who has had a historic year, and they've got the player of the year in the conference, arguably the best player in the nation, and Michaela Blake's Aubrey Galvin, freshman of the year, Shea Ralph, we heard talk with the SEC Now crew. And then Texas, #3, Texas will get the winner of our next game between Alabama and Tennessee.
When we talk about Ole Miss being back on track, I think that Vanderbilt is a better team now than they were when they met earlier this season.
Well, that was a really important time for Coach O. We talked about the winter storm and how things were thrown off, and Vanderbilt was ranked #5 at the time, so they picked up 2 top 5 wins this season against Oklahoma and Vandy.
But then at that Tennessee game, that's when they lost Sirachino and then had to, in the middle of the storm, adjust to not having her and playing some players that had not had as much experience.
Coach O knows and feels and has said that when they are at full strength, they are tough. A tough out indeed, and really no margin for error with her out of the game. But there's been a nice, again, response that we have seen from this Ole Miss crew.
And when Coach O says no margin for error, defensively, if you follow the scouting report, you know the assignment. It's not a matter of, oh, my bad. Coach O's not going to accept that. If you're supposed to get over the screen, you better get over the screen. If you were supposed to hedge hard and then the rotation was supposed to be there, you got to be there. And she has committed to her team. If you can't do the job, I got somebody else that will. And I'm going to tell you, the bench is where you can go as a coach to use that as a teaching lesson.
And how important is that she is building that trust within those players during this last stretch and getting to know what they can do a little bit more.
Well, you can get comfortable playing your top players and kind of forget about those players that are sitting on down the road. But when you put them in and they show you what you can do, you're right. They build that trust.
Right now, Auburn on a 7-0 run. They're trying to get a big defensive stand here. And Ole Miss in this possession. A foul on the way to the hoop. And Ole Miss has 2 free throws on the way.
Now, the thing that Ole Miss has got to correct, those scoring droughts that they can go on. They've got to get consistent offensive production.
Caitlin Peterson is at the line. while she's there, let's let you know about next Thursday right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. Our next SEC Inside grants you an all-access pass to the SEC Women's Basketball Tournament at 6 Eastern, 5 Central. Get all the goods behind the scenes, never seen before footage. Off the miss. That one airmailed from Lauren Jacobs, but Iwala is there. The lefty Iwala with a putback, and we saw her have a terrific first half, and now her first points of the second half.
Yeah, she's already up to 8 rebounds, and we're not even midway through the third quarter. Look, I love this. You've got your big. This is a 5-player for Ole Miss out defending away from the basket.
Duhan goes right at Cody McMahon, rims off, gets her own rebound. Iwala is there once again. Second and third chance efforts, and the effort that we have seen from Caitlin Duhan has been tremendous.
And Duhan is everywhere. She getting the Warrior medal from me right now, how she's playing for Auburn.
And you said it earlier, as a nice find up ahead. Jackson to Holly Lay.
I told you, there's no quitting these Auburn Tigers. And if Ole Miss starts clock watching, Auburn could turn this thing around.
Well, that has been a consistent theme for Larry Vickers' team. He says he hears from coaches after every game about just how hard this team fights and competes.
And he said he's ready to turn that around from you say my team plays so hard that you say my team is good. And it's a matter of time, coach. You got to build it, and they will come.
Jackson spins it in.
That's just flat out one-on-one action.
And getting after it defensively, got to get it across half court, does so. As the intensity picking up here halfway through in this third quarter. Iwala, hooping hard. Christine Iwala is continuing to bring her A game tonight. And when you've got that type of energy and your coach is matching that energy, you said, what, hype me up? I hype me up. Know that. I mean, it's about to heat up. As look, you've got South Carolina seeking their 4th straight championship. They'll be in action tomorrow against Kentucky. LSU, Vanderbilt, Texas, and the stars here tonight. This league just produces brightly every single game. Tiana Thompson tried to carry it in, but Hadi Lay, who has helped to carry the mail along with Caitlin Duhan for Auburn to try to keep them in it. Meanwhile, we talked about Christina Wally, Cody McMahon, and they've done their thing too for Ole Miss.
Yeah, Christina Walla is only two rebounds away from a double-double. It's going to be important for her to play like that, produce double-doubles for Ole Miss to continue to advance.
She's got 11 on the season. Can she notch her 12th here tonight when she gets back on the floor? Sanaya Richardson tried to get it in and recovered. And the reverse lane won't go for a lane, but Duhan, yeah. Caitlin Duhan, who has just been an energizer for this Auburn team. And if you look at the score, Carolyn, and the way that Caitlin Duhan is playing, you would have no idea that they were trailing by this much of a deficit.
Yeah, that just says a lot about the culture and the mentality that Larry Vickers is building at Auburn. Understand that when he got the job, he had really 30 days to recruit, and he hadn't really been able to, you know, get out into the weeds and find the players that he needs to help build this program.
Pass inside.
The ones that he has, though, I like the heart and hustle that they're bringing, and he's got to be pleased with that.
Well, again, we've seen just the time that it takes to build your program into a contender, right? Whoever wins this one, they'll face off against Vanderbilt. You heard Shay Ralph just talk about just the process and putting the pieces together. And now in year 5, right, you're one of the best teams in the country. Or you just look on the other sideline and Coach Yo and the job that she's done, 8 seasons, but it's, again, taken time. 2 out of the last 3 years, Sweet 16s, consecutive 20-plus win seasons. You got to get your people in, and so if you're an Auburn fan, you've got to feel good that greater days are ahead for the Tigers.
And you got to find the way that works for you. You talked about Coach Yo. It has been transferred to you, and she's proud of that. You've got Shay Ralph. It took her 3 years to sign a generational player like Michaela Blake. Larry Vickers has got to find what works for him and bringing in the players that fit that system.
Ole Miss turns over the Tigers. And right now, Auburn still trying to make things happen on the defensive end. Hey, look, they have outscored Ole Miss in this quarter 15-8. They've got to keep coming up with stops and try to find a way to generate some points to come back in this one.
Look, I'd say put Duhan and Lay in a ball screen action. Anything going to the rim because they missed the shot. They got the hops to go put it back in.
Sanaya Richardson cutting. And off the mark.
Like, I like the stuff that Larry Vickers runs. And Richardson coming off that. She got the right shot. Now it's up to the player to make the shot. He's putting them in good position.
Cross half court, Lattimore trying to get it in. Duhan comes up with another steal. Richardson, Lay wasn't expecting it. Collects, gathers, leaves short. And Ole Miss spending a timeout. We will step aside here as well with just over 2 to go in this 3rd quarter from Greenville. Carolyn Peck, Tiffany Green back here with you. We saw a blistering start to this game for Ole Miss. They took a big lead into the locker room, but since coming out only 9 points, and so Coach Yo calling a timeout late in this 3rd quarter. What do you think she wants to see as we see Cody McMahon and Christina Waller back on the floor?
Well, I think that her offense was getting stagnant. You don't want to practice bad habits, and so she felt like she had to get her leaders back on the floor, get this team reorganized, get the focus back to being the main thing. Because, listen, it isn't just about today. It's what you want to do tomorrow. You want to play Saturday and be playing on Sunday.
Quarterfinals tomorrow, followed by the semifinal round on Saturday, leading up to the championship on ESPN Sunday at 3 p.m. Duhan had a look, somehow puts it back up, and Duhan was fouled and will go to the line. When you talk about she had the hops and the way she's being aggressive on the board, she was a long jump champion in high school.
I love the heart and effort that Auburn is getting from Duhan. She's not clock watching. She's playing it 1 possession at a time. Win the possession, the rest would take care of itself.
Great bounce in her step as she's come to play. Auburn 9 of 10 on free throws this quarter alone. As we remind you to tune in to the best gymnastics meets of the weekend. Number 2, LSU, taking on number 4, Florida, Sunday from the O'Connell Center in Gainesville. Coverage begins at 6 Eastern right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app.
Look at the effort. Duhan still going after it.
And asking for it.
You got to give it back to her. Come on.
Harris misses the opportunity, and the charge called against Harris, the offensive foul, as Peterson had to legal guarding position, not in position. And that's one of those growth moments that Larry Vickers will be able to go back to and say, hey, well, this is where we can do better next time around.
Look, yesterday in that Missouri-Alabama game, Alabama had the maturity of understanding Ace Austin is hot, go back to the hot hand. Well, the same thing here with Auburn. As hard as Kaylin Duhan's playing on defense and you're running in transition, you got to give her, you got to let her eat. You got to give her the ball. That's monstrous.
Awala was having to work for it as Lay was D'ing her up, and she's whistled for the personal foul. Closing minute of the third.
I like what I have seen from Christine Awala. The look in her eye when she gets the basketball. She's not running plays, but playing the game and understanding when it comes to her, she's in a no-pass zone.
Yeah.
When it comes inside, you go to work.
What did she tell us? Like the way that she was coming into today after this 4-game losing skid, she said, look, we got to refocus. We've got to bring the energy, and it's time to show up the way that we know we can.
Well, because her production specifically, Christine Awala, in the wins, she's one of the 3 players in double figures. In the losses, she goes to single digits. So she knows she's got to produce inside.
And tonight, Christine Awala has 15 points. She's perfect from the floor. She's got 8 rebounds to go along with it.
She said she had to demonstrate, quit talking about it. She's demonstrating tonight.
Lay trying to find where to go, and last touched by Coulibaly. Quickly across half court is Denim DeShields, met by a double team. Kicked it over, trying to bounce pass into Awala, and overthrows it. And that was deflected, so DeShields going to the backcourt to get it. About a 4-second differential between shot clock and game clock. McMahon, got to move. 2 seconds, tried to find Awala. Instead, Auburn holds. And the quarter comes to a close, but the Auburn Tigers winning the quarter 17-10. They've got a lot of work to do still. 1 quarter remaining in their season if they want to try to advance here in this SEC tournament.
About what Christine Awala has done on the offensive side, but let's talk about what she does on the defensive end. Now watch her right here. She is going to defend on the ball screen, and she gets switched off onto a guard. The big gets down and works, stops the penetration inside. It doesn't stop there. Once the ball goes out, she doesn't stay on a small. She gets switched back to the big to continue doing her job. She is like a safety defensively. The quarterback inside, directing traffic. That's what you need from your big girl inside.
And Christine Awala told us yesterday just about how much they practiced on communication, being able to pick that up, and that was a great way to point it out as Awala watches on, this quarter starts, and Ole Miss puts up a bucket.
Well, the other important thing that she does, she demonstrated what needs to be done. So those players that are coming in and subbing for her now, you saw what needed to be done. You've got to carry that over when you come back into the game.
Tiana Thompson, no, trying to get her own rebound. Murray comes up with it. This Ole Miss team playing in their first game, had a single round bye, and is going over the back of DeShields, and Harris is whistled for the personal foul. That's her 4th. We talked about just how much energy was expended so far for Auburn. They narrowly passed Texas A&M with a first-round win, 50-49. Meanwhile, it's a fresh look for this Ole Miss team playing their first game in the second round. DeShields. Gets it over to Jacobs. Baseline. And 1.6 seconds left on the shot clock. You know, running out of bounds play under the basket.
I'd look for a lob to Lattimore. But you got to execute.
They go to Lattimore, but too far out near the three-point line and a shot clock violation.
That's got to be something Coach Young puts on the film. Listen, yeah, you're up on Auburn right now, but you playing Vanderbilt tomorrow, 1 second on the shot clock. You got to take advantage of that possession.
And still 8:43 remaining in this one. But if you look ahead, if Ole Miss is able to advance and hold on here, with that matchup with Vanderbilt earlier this season, an 83-75 victory, what's going to be key the second time around?
It's going to have to be, number one, the defense has got to be focused on trying to not allow Michaela Blakes to get free. They've got to have somebody constantly trying to slow her down. You're not going to stop her, but slow her down. She had, what, 29 points in that game, but she had 7 turnovers. And so you want to, if she cooks, you can't let her set up everybody else. Now, on the other side for Ole Miss, I think the biggest difference in that game, Christina Walla had 14 rebounds. She needs to carry over her determination she played today. She's got to do that tomorrow.
She's got 8 rebounds tonight as Walla looks on a 20-point lead for Ole Miss.
You know what I like that I'm seeing, though, from Larry Vickers? He's down 20. He's still up coaching. He didn't quit on his team, and he does not expect them to quit either. You got to coach to the end. You're building for the future.
Traveling violation. That's a great point, because you're going to continue to sell this program and understand what this identity of a Larry Vickers coach team is all about. You got to be willing to fight, and you got to be willing to go to the final buzzer of a game. You know, defensive intensity and a defensive presence is going to be ever so key for his program moving forward.
You know, it's interesting to talk to Larry Vickers, getting fresh eyes of somebody new to the SEC. And he talked about, he thought, you know, you adjust every game for each opponent. And he said there's not a whole lot of adjustments. SEC coaches, because they got the horses, look, they just do what they do and make the other team, their opponents, have to worry about them. And that's what he is learning and what he needs to assemble for his program to be able to do that.
Carolyn, you've played in this conference. You've coached in this conference. And you know there is no other conference like the SEC going on the ground and coming up with the steal is Richardson up to Duhan.
Yeah, when I coached in this conference, it was good. This year, the SEC is a whole nother level.
We're taking it to another level as Sanaya Richardson bakes in that 3. And so drawing now within 15, and Auburn taking advantage of an Ole Miss scoring drought of nearly 3 minutes. In that time, they have gone on an 8-0 run. Hold up, wait a minute, Tiger still got something to say. I like that. These will be in action. And you go back to that Kentucky-South Carolina game just 4 days ago. It was a close one, 4 points separated. Kentucky and the Gamecocks who walked away with a win. Meanwhile, you look at this Auburn team who has not given up, who has not lost hope or belief, and they are fighting to keep their season alive, understanding what's at stake. What have you seen from this Auburn team since coming out of the locker room in the half?
No quit in Auburn, and Ole Miss having scoring droughts. In the first quarter, they went 2.5 minutes without scoring. In the second quarter, almost 2.5 minutes ago. Again, third quarter, 3 minutes and 28 seconds. And right now, they've gone over 3 minutes without a field goal. And Auburn keeps chipping away.
Yeah, they keep on plucking away at a lead, which was as many as 28 Ole Miss trying to buy a bucket. They've had nearly as many turnovers as they have field goal, but that one falls in for the Rebels.
What did Coach Yo have to do to stop that drought? She had to put McMahon and Iwala back into the ball game.
Iwala, 8 for 8 tonight. Most consecutive shots made by a Rebel this season. Christine Iwala has been money on the court. She's got 18 points with that make. Iwala, who has just blossomed in her second year with Ole Miss. And forcing a turnover as Richardson steps on the end line. You said it earlier, just the way Cody McMahon pushes Christine Iwala and vice versa. We talked about them in the open, and they have been key. Their chemistry and how they play together has just been magical this season.
Yeah, and you look at McMahon tonight, she's got today she's got 11 points, 4 assists, and this team just plays different when she's on the floor.
Duhan picks up her 3rd personal foul. So just over 6 minutes to go in this one. Auburn already with a win yesterday over Texas A&M in the first round. Trying to upset again here tonight against Ole Miss. Meanwhile, Rebels looking to right the ship and try to make some noise here in Greenville this week. 4th team foul for Auburn. The next one will send Ole Miss to the free throw line for the remainder of this game. Murray has that one rim off. Reminder coming your way next. Tennessee, first chance we'll get to see the Lady Vols if they can turn things around and hit the reset button again as well, as they'll take on Alabama.
That's the beautiful thing about the basketball season. You have the non-conference, all right? Then you, after the Christmas break, 1st of January starts new season. Conference starts. You go through that gauntlet. The conference season was over after March 1st. Now the 3rd season is this SEC tournament. And so, and now it's crucial time because you got to win or go home. Once you get through that, then you got that 4th season. And that's the one for all the marbles there in the NCAA tournament.
Well, you're trying to kick it into another gear, and you said this earlier, Carolyn, just about how this is a tune-up, if you will, for Ole Miss, for them to work on some things, to turn some of the negative outcomes into positive ones as they prepare for the NCAA tournament. And the extra gear there from Cody McMahon with the drive to the basket. With Thompson and Lay fighting inside, trying to get some position there. It's still going to be Auburn basketball.
You and I were talking about Cody McMahon. We liken her to Alyssa Thomas in the WNBA. I know I'm not stepping in front of that to take a charge. She is strong and a brick house.
Locomotive, freight train. That's
she's
fair?
the freight train.
Okay.
Yes. Not locomotive. That I'm thinking Sesame Street. Freight train. That's coming in strong.
All power. Okay. Abby Lay tried to step through, and Latasha Lattimore is called for the foul. Hadi Lay, who was the hero in last night's game, had that go-ahead bucket with seconds remaining against Texas A&M, and then the defense making it difficult for the Aggies to get a good look at that final shot, is how this Auburn team was able to pick up their first SEC tournament win since 2024.
The good news for Vanderbilt is that neither of these teams are getting a walk in the park to play in tomorrow. Now, this is the second game of the tournament for Auburn, and I think Coach O wanted to rest, especially Cody McMahon and Christina Walla, but they're having to play minutes in order to hold on to this lead.
Quick draw from Richardson, who drains the three. And again, cutting the lead now to a dozen here with under 5 minutes to go. And Tiana Thompson, who is in a bright spot in the last 4 games for Ole Miss, who has been quiet here tonight, but gets that one to go. The and one for Tiana Thompson.
Now, Thompson normally known for being a 3-point shooter, but now deciding to take it to the rim. Gets the bucket and a trip to the free throw line.
Tiana Thompson with her first points tonight. We talked about how well she had shot the 3 ball over the last 4 games. Is averaging 13 points or better for Ole Miss during that stretch, and showing what she could do in the time that she had, because Sirachinu wasn't available out with an injury during that stretch.
Well, you know, Tiana Thompson is going to be a quality player. She was recruited by Nell Porter at Georgia Tech.
Well, we've seen Tiana Thompson, Tony Morgan earlier tonight with the Kentucky Wildcats, who's coached by Nell Yem. Coming up with it, and Thompson out ahead, going right at Duhan with the rejection. Say what you want, Caitlin Duhan, oh my goodness. She has been bringing her defense tonight.
Look, my mama taught me as long as there's time on the clock, you got a chance to win, and that's how Caitlin Duhan is playing.
Lattimore gets it back into the hands of McMahon, swings it over. Lattimore for 3, and it goes in. Latasha Lattimore with a 3-point make, and then the foul on the other end. And you see Cody McMahon talking to her teammates, say, don't foul there.
Well, because Auburn's going to try to take away Cody McMahon, you got to remember on the scouting report, Lattimore can shoot the 3, and she looks to spot it up, line it up behind that 3-point line.
Latasha Lattimore in double figures. She's got 11 points tonight. A trio of Ole Miss players with double-digit points. Jamia Harris, the junior out of Dallas, Texas, at the free throw line. Leaves the first free throw short. And normally a very good free throw shooter. Shooting 79%, knocks down the second. Picking up full court, they get it across. Did you see the closing speed of Caitlin Duhan, who nearly got there?
I just like the bounce of number 4 in blue for the Tigers. Her intensity does not wane.
McMahon, what a dish over to Lattimore. Great find from McMahon. Finish for Latasha Lattimore.
I'm telling you, Ole Miss is just different with Cody McMahon on the floor.
6 assists tonight. Again, in a position where Cody McMahon, who has been a primary ball handler in this offensive system in her lone season with Ole Miss. Petticourt puts up the 3, back iron. Chasing down to try to get it was Caitlin Duhan. And so busy trying to say who it was last touched by, she didn't track that one down. It's gonna go to Rebels.
And again, Cody McMahon driving in, and the read, understanding the 2 rotating to her and where Lattimore is going to be. It's plays like this that has helped her stock in the WNBA draft to continue to be on the rise.
We mentioned already, newcomer of the year in the SEC. And just the consistency that she has brought throughout her career. She was an all-conference performer while at Ohio State.
Duhan almost got her another steal.
Thompson, just hamper. There are all kinds of blue jerseys around. And look at that. Look at the emotion you see on Caitlin Duhan's face. 2.5+ minutes to go. And you have to feed off of this type of energy.
Let me tell you something. If I'm in a foxhole, I want Caitlin Duhan with me. That's a fighter, a warrior right there.
Over to Harris. Swing it around. Harris, pump fake. And Ariel Jackson's got to get moving into Hottie Lay. Lay too strong. And Peterson puts that shoulder down, and Jackson launches that shot, made it difficult.
Look, Ole Miss has got to understand clock management. Now, I understand Peterson coming down on the break. She didn't have the advantage. And you want to play tomorrow. So use the clock. Pull it back out. Let the rest of your team come back and let that clock run. You got to manage time and score.
Well, I'm just loving watching this Auburn team play. And just leaving everything out on the floor tonight. And what may very well be their final game of the season. Ariel Jackson missing from 3.
Yeah, when you're building a culture, part of it is to compete. And they've attempted to compete today.
Inside, even though Duhan missed the 3, she had a good look for an easy bucket, and it won't fall. Well, Larry Vickers will have the opportunity to try to retain players like Caitlin Duhan, try to come back and continue to build. Minute 20 left in this one. Something really special would have to happen if Auburn were to come back in this one. This one may very well be out of reach, likely is. And as we prepare for our next game, Alabama and Tennessee, and it was the Lady Vols who won that regular season matchup 70-59, but this is a Tennessee team who is looking to get back on track. Meanwhile, Alabama with the win over Missouri. What to expect in that next game?
Well, look, when you look back at that first matchup earlier this season and Tennessee won that, they had 5 players that were in double figures. The ball has got to move, and then they have to be locked in defensively, not for 1 or 2 quarters. There's a big 3 for the Tigers, but to do it all 4 quarters, because with the ability of Alabama to be able to shoot the 3, game is never out of reach.
Alabama, who drains about 9 threes a game. Christy Curry's team wants the Tide to keep moving in the right direction, try to advance on. The winner of our next game will face off against number 3, Texas. Caitlin Duhan coming up with the rebound and running in transition, and the miss there for Lay. And Caitlin Duhan, 14 points, 5 rebounds, some blocks, a number of steals as well. And in the last 30.9 seconds to go, you think about Virginia Bayoso, Maya Petticord, Ariel Jackson in their final game in an Auburn uniform.
When you look at the future of this program, though, a team that lost 16 games in the regular season brought this fight to the SEC tournament. Look, that's something to build on.
Not the outcome they would have wanted, but they tried to push this Ole Miss team to the brink. Just gonna come up a little short as the officials are conferring here. Not sure about what exactly. Brenda Patoja, Timothy Green, Tony Patillo. So 30.9 seconds remaining again. Ole Miss will look to face off against Vanderbilt, the number 2 seed, again in the quarterfinals. And so right now, just checking to get confirmation on when the foul occurred. And our lead official will go over and discuss it with Coach Yo. Another look at the clock here. So 30.9 seconds and 20 seconds on the shot clock.
I thought the foul was called on Auburn, but the officials gave Auburn the ball. I'm a little confused. I mean, Ole Miss had the basketball, and the foul was called. I think that's what Coach Yo was questioning.
Okay. And the trap there is seconds winding down in this one. Ole Miss, the 7 seed, first game of the SEC tournament. And they're gonna walk away with a win, 73-57, to advance to the quarterfinals and snap a 4-game losing skid. And they did it behind the outstanding effort of Christine Awala, 18 points, 8 of 8 for the floor, followed up by Cody McMahon and Latasha Lattimore. But that defense dictated this run. They came back.
That's what you want to see. If you ended the season on a 4-game losing streak, you had a few days to practice at the reset button, and I think that Coach Yo got the attention of her team, and they have brought that intensity here to Greenville.
Well, credit Coach Yo's staff for advancing to their 6th straight SEC tournament quarterfinal, but they got one heck of an effort from this Auburn team. Tip your cap to the heart and hustle that they left out here on the court tonight. Caitlin Duhon gave it her best. So here's the quarterfinals look as of now. 3 matchups already set for tomorrow. We've got 1 more to go. Texas awaiting the winner of Tennessee and Alabama, which you will see here next. The final in this one, 73-57. It goes to Ole Miss for Carolyn Peck. I'm Tiffany Green. We'll have more action, but for now, let's send it to our SEC Now studio crew.